What's up, guys? If you didn't know, my name is Cam, and we're finally back with another video. I think it's been about 2 years since I posted on this channel, and but all that is gonna change. 2025, that's gonna be our year. We're gonna be pushing out way more content. It's gonna be a great year for this channel. I can already see it now. Today, I'm going to give a quick update on where I've been and what's been going on in my life recently. And I'm also going to be giving a big testimony on how I came to Christ and also how he's been working in my life for this past year or so. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, to start from the very beginning, one of the first major events that happened in my life was my parents getting divorced. And looking back on that now, it's not that much of a big deal. But as a kid, seeing them go through that change, that really affected me and how I saw not only my parents, but how I saw marriage and love in general. And unfortunately, seeing them go through that divorce caused me to, in certain ways, hold anger or resentment towards them for different reasons. And and I'm sure on both sides of me and also my parents, I'm sure it was a hard thing to go through. Once I got a little bit older, getting into elementary school and all that, I did face some bullying, and that started developing some self-identity issues and self-esteem issues that started to come up, and I started to build this shell around me to try and protect myself from whatever people might say or things that they do. And my mom would always catch me. She'd always be like, "Man, I remember back when you was little, like you would do whatever you wanted to. You wouldn't care what nobody thought about this and the third." And I'd be like, "Man, whatever." But thinking back on that now, I mean, it makes sense. Like after going through the things that I did, kind of made me become a lot more introverted than I probably was when I was younger. Then moving on to when I got a lot older than elementary school, kind of towards middle school, middle of school, early high school, I really started seeing the effects of having split parents and how I view marriage and stuff for real. Once I got a little bit older, in my head at that time, I was thinking I'm never getting married. Like it's just a piece of paper. Why the government got to be involved and all that crazy stuff people say when they make up excuses of why they shouldn't get married, along with those self-esteem issues that have been building up and building up. I started getting this weird inferiority complex to where always felt like any of my ideas or anything that I was doing was a lot smaller in comparison to what anybody else was doing that was around me, like my peers and whatnot. And so that kind of helped bum me out and end up peaking at a point to where I started having to battle with bouts of depression, and it got to a point where was having suicidal thoughts. And in that time, I was heavily isolating myself. Like I wasn't trying to talk to that many people on a realistic and deep level. Like I wasn't having any real conversations with anybody. And if someone tried, if my mom or anybody was trying to have real conversations with me, I just brush it off and try to get past it as quick as possible. And so yeah. And so going through that was really hard at the time, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. There were multiple moments where I was really contemplating just ending it. And before I move on, I just really want to express how important it is. If you're going through that, you gotta find somebody to talk to, whether it's your parents, a friend, a therapist, just anybody. Because isolation, that is what really takes the toll. When you begin to isolate yourself from everyone, you're refusing to have those deeper conversations to express those feelings, and that's how they really end up building up. And so yeah, once I finally got through that, that was around high school, right? And during that time, I wasn't I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God or a higher power, although I grew up sort of Christian, but I didn't necessarily have any really real spiritual leaders, right? So I got to high school, a lot more learning, a lot more thinking, and I got to where I was like, okay, there might be a higher power. There might be somebody or something up there, but I don't know, and who cares? Like, if I find out, I find out. If I don't, I don't. Like, it's not gonna change anything I got going on. So, bang, high school, get done with high school, I graduate. I'm thinking I'm finna go to college. I'm finna wild out. I'm finna go to parties. I'm finna do this and a third. And yeah, God ended up having different plans for me, obviously. After our graduation, my graduation, I had a friend, and she was mainly friends with my friend group that I had hung around since like the beginning of middle school. But I had never talked to her until senior year. So once we graduated, we was still cool. And she invited me to her graduation party. It was supposed to be me, her friend, and some of my guy friends, right? So the day comes, we get to the restaurant. I show up, she show up. I'm calling my friends. I'm like, where y'all at? They not coming. And so her friend ends up showing up, and then I get word from my guys that they not gonna be coming. So I'm like, okay, I might as well. I'm here now. So we sit down, we eat. They mostly did most of the chatting. I just sat down and stuffed my mouth full. And then we ended up leaving. It wasn't much going on. So got home, I think like about a week after that, like a week or so after that, my friend called. No, she texted me and she's like, hey, my friend thinks you're cute and she want to talk to you. You should talk to her. I'm like, who is your friend? And she's like, the girl that was at the graduation party. So I think back, I'm like, oh, I'm not really trying to get in a relationship. So I'm like, I told her she got to come talk to me. I thought I was, I don't know. I thought it was a package or something. But yeah. And so I ended up talking to her, and she ended up convincing me to just like start a conversation. So I started a conversation. I was just like, hey, your friend told me to come talk to you. What's up? And so she actually ended up taking the conversation from there. Surprise to me, because I was told she was shy. She ain't seem shy to me. We ended up talking. We ended up planning the first date. We go on the first date, and it's amazing. Like we think we sat in the car for like 2-3 hours just talking the entire time. But yeah, it was a really good first date. And then from there on, we hit it off. Fast forward a little bit, a decent little bit. Like we had, as most teenagers do, we had our rough patches in our relationship, but we ended up finding a way to work through them. And fast forward a little bit more, she started getting these out the way TikToks out of nowhere about the Book of Revelation, right? And so she starts freaking out, and she was raised Catholic, right? But she didn't necessarily participate a lot in the outside of with family. Like most people was just living lukewarm, basically. So starts getting all these TikToks about Revelations. Every time she scrolls something about Revelation, the world ending, the prophecies are happening, and I'm just looking at her. I'm like, you believe this stuff? It's kind of crazy. And yeah, so that had in itself caused some issues. And then there were multiple times where she was like we need to get right with God. Like the world's gonna be ending soon. I wanted to be with you in heaven. Da da da. And it was a few of these moments, and it got to a point where I was like, oh, okay, and like I guess I can try. And like what could it hurt? My perspective of that was like, if I put effort into it, it's not gonna hurt. Like the most it can do is good, right? So we start like reading the Bible and stuff together, praying together. She started clocking my tea a little bit. Like she was saying stuff like, you can't be doing this for me. Like you gotta do this for yourself. Like it's like your personal relationship ain't got nothing to do with me. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll put more effort in. And so I stopped like doing it for her approval, and kind of started to look more into myself, and really try to put faith in the Lord and learn more. And so I did that, and things started changing. Things started changing a lot. Like things that we would be arguing about most of the time, we wouldn't really be arguing about anymore. Like you could tell there was a change happening. Thankfully enough, she decided that she wanted to oh wow, I skipped the big step. Before this, we actually ended up getting engaged towards the beginning of both of our spiritual journeys, right? We got engaged. She ended up finding a church, because we decided we want to look for a church to go to, because neither one of us had really been going to church. So she found this one church on TikTok called Every Nation. Shout out Every Nation. Wonderful people. I love them. Like, that's our spiritual family for real. Like, they're amazing. But she ended up finding Every Nation, and we went to a service, and we really liked it. And funny enough, I had saw that church in a dream before. So I was just sitting down, and was like, I got deja vu. Like, I seen this somewhere, and it was crazy. It was a crazy experience. But we got discipled by the pastor and his wife, and they helped us get to where we needed to be spiritually, and we ended up getting saved and baptized. So I was saved. We had went to an event called Victory Weekend up in Jacksonville, and like we're going through the services. I'm not necessarily feeling nothing. I'm trying to be open, and then the altar call happens. People start praying over everybody, like, and then I just decide I'm just take all these things I've been holding internally and just give it to God, right? I'm just like, my anger towards my parents, I'm gonna get at the God. Like, my fears, I'm gonna get at the God, and this and the third, I'm just laid at His feet. I just started boohoo crying, like it was insane. I snot coat all I know, I was just boohoo crying, and the altar call, prayer ends, the worship begins and ends, and I'm still just there crying, just standing up there crying. Adri walks me back to our seat, and I'm still crying. I'm just repeating "Thank you, Jesus" over and over. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I'm just repeating it over and over, and I'm just still boohoo crying for at least like 30 minutes. And then my tear ducts finally went dry. I couldn't cry no longer. But yeah, and that's how I got saved. And maybe like a week after, we ended up getting baptized, and that was a great. Baptism is such a great thing. It's great. And then yeah, and so that the next January, this past January, on the 16th, we got married, and that was great. And since then, like, we've just been rolling, and God was just really working on us, and like it's been great. Like, He's been working in me, like with my patience and my motivation. Like, He's really been pushing me to do more and do the things that He has called me to do. And one of those things, I believe, is like making content and doing the things that I kind of always knew that I wanted to do, but I never had that motivation to really go for it. And I was always procrastinating. He's really been working on me in that. So that's kind of how this video came to be, really. But yeah. So he started working in us, like doing just amazing things. Funny enough, we end up finding out that Adri is pregnant. And how we find out is not because of morning sickness or anything like that. A girl from my church walked up to Adri and told her that the Lord told her to tell Adri that she was pregnant. And once Adri told me that, I was freaking out. Like, I was like, I'm too young to have a kid, da da da. And I almost ended up having a panic attack. I had to take me a nap to calm myself down. But after that, like, I ended up getting pretty excited and just thinking about what that was going to be like. And that baby was spoken of way back when, came to be on December 9th of this past year, which is crazy. She was the best Christmas gift ever, honestly. And she's so beautiful. She's that's my daughter. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, so I ended up having a baby, and yeah, that was that. And so that's kind of what has happened in my life and what has led me up to this point and this day here. And yeah, that's where I've been. Now, what is next? What's next? So first, for this channel specifically, we're gonna be pushing out way more content. Like, after this video, like, I'm planning what's next. Like, we should be making moves, and this month alone, really. So there's gonna be more content. There's gonna be some gaming content, more just like talking content like this. I'm gonna try to do some more of that, and yeah, it's gonna be some nice stuff. Also, if you didn't know, I have a second channel called Eye Candy Media. That's where I do all of my photography, videography stuff, and I'm also working on 2 short films currently. The first one is called Loose Ends, and the second one I haven't titled it yet. Like I have the concept, but I haven't wrote the script for it or anything yet, nor do I have the title. But Loose Ends should be coming out sometime in the spring. That's where I'm planning to have filming done, editing done, publishing done, all by this spring. Like I want to say March, but I don't want to make it too soon. So I'm gonna say April, like mid-April. That's what I'm looking forward to. And so yeah, and so once that comes out on my second channel, Eye Candy Media, I'm gonna be doing some behind the scenes content also. So I'll be posting the film on that channel as well as all the behind the scenes content, and there you'll see like different like editing stuff and like film day and all that, just what it's like on the set as someone who's making their first short film. And so yeah, so that's what's gonna be next for this channel and the next. So that was this video for today. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you made it this far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, because there's definitely gonna be more coming. And yeah, I appreciate your time. Doses.
Talking about. Make my turn like family, yeah. I'm feeling super like Stanley, yeah. Make from this shit might get sandy, huh? Pull up his water, can't cram me, yeah. They sleeping on me like the jammy, yeah. I'm cooking the studio like Ramsay, yeah. This how work, some can't hear me, yeah. I put that body like Hammy.